This video is brought to you by Ridge Wallet. Stick around to hear more about the discount that they're providing to the entire UE community. This video is also available ad-free in an audio podcast form on locals.com. It's basically just Patreon but better, with merch discounts and video topic feedback, etc. And on top of that, my entire content library is up on Odyssey, which is a YouTube platform alternative if you'd like to check out some alt-tech options for free. Links are down below in the description. Alright, so today I want to do a review/analysis for Call of Duty Cold War because this game appears to be all over the place. It really does. So depending on what you're looking for, it will either be pretty good, although admittedly very short, or absolutely atrocious because for some reason, even though it felt like the deck was stacked in their favor this year, it truly did, the multiplayer just feels bad. I'll have to separate this down into three different segments: campaign, multiplayer, and zombies, because A, they are all fundamentally different experiences, and B, without pretense, I like the campaign and will probably focus a decent amount of time for this review on that section. Also, I think zombies is just the same old shit it's been for years now, so you either like it or you don't, and there isn't a lot of detail to go into, so that part will be relatively short. But wait, what's that over there? Could it be? It is. The 18-karat gold-plated Ridge wallet, because the best wallet in the world just got even better. In all seriousness though, Ridge is a new kind of wallet that only keeps the essentials, and it's a sponsorship I am thrilled to have. Highest quality materials, guaranteed for life, 30,000 5-star reviews, sleek industrial designs, tons of different colors and designs to choose from. They even let you test one for 45 days and return it if you aren't satisfied. For 10% off your entire order, you can click the link down below and use code Upper Echelon. Again, that's code Upper Echelon for 10% off your order using the link down below in the description. There's not much more to say because, like Ridge wallets, I want to keep this plug clean and effective. Once you use one, you'll never go back. Also, it's an amazing holiday gift, just saying. Let's start with the campaign. Right off the bat, it's a very, very short experience. The whole thing is probably 5 or so hours. Depending on difficulty, the bracket might be somewhere between 4 and 7, but the point is, it's pretty short, and this would most likely not be the primary reason most players purchase the title. The thing is, maybe it should be. Maybe it should be. I genuinely like this campaign. Now, there is a pretty hefty amount of subjectivity there, the same way I despise The Last of Us 2 and many others absolutely loved it. I may like this while others don't, but even if you subjectively dislike the narrative story arc, I find it hard to believe that most players will be unable to appreciate the attempted innovation. Call of Duty Cold War takes a swing at replayability in this entry, as it opens the narrative up for player choices. The sad truth is that most of these choices are shallow and skin deep, the vast majority are, but even so, at the very least, they feel impactful at least the first time through. Some of the moments where a pathway diverges would make me snap back to attention, in a campaign where I would probably normally zone out and really not care about what is happening around me. Let's be honest for a second here. Call of Duty, in terms of its campaign at least historically, is an on-rails arcade shooter for the most part. This means that you will effectively be bounced from segment to segment on a controlled path, while participating in whatever shooting gallery gimmicks are available for that particular mission. A turret, a car chase, a plane ride, whatever it is. Cold War is definitely more of the same until it isn't. And the moments where it isn't make me wish that they had devoted actual resources to this and taken a couple extra years to flesh it out, because the bare bones of what they have built is actually incredibly interesting. Obviously, that will never happen. That's not how annualized franchises work, barring the exception of Assassin's Creed, I guess, where they did delay the game by a year and disrupt that cycle because the quality had degraded so heavily it seemed like the franchise might fall apart completely. But anyway, Call of Duty isn't at that point yet, but I wish it was, because what this game might have been is highly intriguing. The first major mechanical difference here is player choice, and beware, there will be minor spoilers from this point on. Nothing major, but small spoilers will be discussed. Certain moments in the campaign clearly allow the player to choose between who lives and dies, whether to capture or kill, and subsequently interrogate, and a few other different pathways. These are appreciated, but not overly critical to the narrative for the most part. However, based on a couple of those choices, the player will, or won't, gain access to evidence, which can be plugged in at the investigation board in order to unlock 2 separate bonus missions. These bonus missions are short and really nothing all that special in and of themselves, but the decision to capture and interrogate, as well as your diligence finding other pieces of evidence in the different levels, all dispersed around, will construct a procedurally generated puzzle, unique to your specific game, that you must solve before being allowed to hunt down the targets. This might seem small, it might even seem annoying to some people, but the innovation here is actually incredible if, and really only if, it had been expanded outward into a fully fleshed out story. What these two puzzles achieve almost by themselves is a sense of personal investment well and truly beyond what any railway shooter, typical railway shooter, could ever cultivate. Imagine an entire investigation board of puzzles and evidence woven together where you can solve one of the puzzles and you get a high octane shooting mission to hunt down and kill a valuable target, or, depending on how you assemble that evidence, you get a stealthy, espionage oriented segment of deception, which the game also has, by the way, because you earned that content. Not just because it stuck you on a rail and just shot you down the tunnel and said, here you go, have the same experience as everyone else. This concept could have been something that truly advanced the Call of Duty franchise. This idea of player-unique investigations that lead to content otherwise unavailable and feed into a dynamic ending, which the ending is somewhat dynamic, it really is a step up from anything they have ever done before, but there is so little of it. I can't rightly say that the game has found success because, teetering on the brink, all I can think is, what a wasted opportunity. But that's not all. In the middle of the game is an espionage segment where the player diverges from typical Call of Duty storytelling and operates as a Soviet mole. This, again, feels like the bare minimum amount of a concept that could otherwise have been absolutely exceptional. I have not replayed it enough, over and over, to experience all the branching pathways and options, but it truly feels open-ended. Like, what I did in this building was likely to affect the entire world, and the decisions I made personally could matter for the rest of the campaign. Eventually, you end up at the, without real spoilers here, intense ending, and that's where it all came to a head for me, and I realized that this game got right up to the edge of actual innovation, and then backed off. It may have been time, resources, direction, I don't know what the bottleneck was, who really can be sure, but they were on a razor's edge and came back down on the same side without making the leap. There were sections of the ending missions where I truly felt like I was breaking the narrative. Upon realizing that some of my previous choices actually didn't matter at all, I was mildly annoyed, but that sense of rebellion and the dynamic pieces of information I was able to glean as a result of that rebellion were genuinely interesting, and made this, at least for me, a successful, albeit short, and with a horde of wasted potential, but anyways, a successful campaign that was worthy of discussing with nuance. Overall, it's obviously not enough content to deserve a full AAA price tag in and of itself, even if you replay it twice over for that matter, but it was a step up over what I expected. Harkening back to the extremely poignant trailer featuring Yuri Bezmenov, this campaign really didn't fulfill those expectations, born of that contemporary commentary, but it diverged from what I expected, to be sure. Layered in gameplay elements that made me think critically and clearly shows signs of innovation and concepts that are well worth playing. However, for all of the positives, there are extreme negatives. It may not happen to everyone, hopefully not, but in most of the cutscenes, I think almost all of them, I lagged so badly that the audio would end like 15 or 20 seconds ahead of the visuals, and this flipbook-looking monstrosity would labor its way through silently on the back end. This lag totally wrecked the pacing, destroyed my immersion, and almost caused me to quit the game entirely. And even in cutscenes that worked better, which there were a couple of, sometimes there would just be shadows that, materialized in and out. I'm not kidding. Suddenly the whole front of someone would be shadowed when the light was, next to them, and then it would just flip, and the complete wrong side of their body would have shadows flickering across, and it was absurd and comical and ridiculous, and it really just felt like a huge step down from Modern Warfare in that regard, in most of the graphical categories, actually. And the crazy intricacy of the previous game's cutscenes and all the graphical detail that it had, it just feels like a step down from that. But that's just the campaign in a game widely known and bought, for the most part, because of its multiplayer. This is where the praise I had ends, because I don't actually enjoy the multiplayer all that much, and even if I lean towards the side of, well, it's just the same old shit we've had for years, it actually almost feels worse owing to the heavy inclusion of skill-based matchmaking. I won't descend into the detailed world of utility patents, but Activision Blizzard owns a patented system, which is clearly showing up here, and the effect is that even solo casual playlists trend towards being hyper-aggressive meta gameplay tactics, which make a laid-back atmosphere seemingly impossible in this game. This might change depending on internal matchmaking stats, I don't know, but very quickly I began to realize that the map structure, the gun tactics, and the weapon stats were pushing me into a very, for lack of a better word here, sweaty atmosphere that just wasn't fun. Things feel sluggish. There were very few maps that I actually enjoy, some are way too big, others have really painful camping locations, and most of this is highly subjective. Yes, coming from someone who stopped caring about his Call of Duty stats a number of years ago, I'm not a pro by any stretch, but this multiplayer doesn't feel good to me. Also, why is this game so damn big? It's like 130 gigs on PS4, upwards of 100 on Xbox and PC, and that's only going to increase by huge amounts over time. For something that feels lean on content with graphics that don't surpass its predecessor, where is the file size even coming from? Forgive me if I seem like a novice in this category, but I really have no idea why these file sizes need to be so far beyond any other competing game in the space, and the patches they release are no different. Enormous, and I can't figure out why. I will say the gunsmith is once again a positive aspect, as it has been for a while now. I enjoy tinkering with weapons and slowly unlocking more to add, but when you look at the totality of what the multiplayer has become, it legitimately feels like a downgrade. This game could have launched 8 full years ago and felt pretty much identical to what Call of Duty was doing at that time with Ghosts in terms of raw gunplay quality. Some people may dispute that, but I'm finding it really hard to describe any of the multiplayer as anything other than mediocre. The one and only exception, in my opinion, is VIP extraction, depending on the map, especially depending on the map. I've had some serious fun with that mode, but a single mode capturing my attention is really not enough to cancel out the huge number of negative aspects. Last up are the zombies, and this one is going to be really short because I just don't care for the mode. The most notable change I've seen is that you can now extract at various intervals, which can be pretty fun and is useful, and also has a reward bonus attached, so that's cool. However, the problem I have is that the zombies mode has always been a gimmick. Some people might literally buy the game specifically for that gimmick, that's fair, but as I sit here and harken back to the days of World at War, Call of Duty World at War, when I used to play it like religiously, and the single building zombies mode with that one, area, and you go upstairs with the frantic arcadey fun to be had in split screen with your friends, no amount of new, crazy, color-saturated mutant creatures is going to make me relive that first map. It doesn't really matter how many mazes and anomalies and traps and whatever other wild shit they come up with gets put in. I'm not going to suddenly appreciate a tired concept just because they made it more complicated. That being said, they clearly put a lot of work into this, and if the whole zombies mode is something you enjoy, and you like the intricacy and the crafting and the bunkers and the whatever the hell else happens in this damn mode, it's probably going to do, perfectly fine in your book. I don't enjoy that all that much, not anymore, so I'll refrain from letting that drag down my entire opinion of the game. It doesn't help that my game was lagging constantly when I tried to play the zombies mode, but I wanted to make it clear that the zombies mode is, for better or for worse, more of what many have come to expect, so good or bad, you decide. Ultimately, Call of Duty Cold War has some positive aspects that I appreciate, but those individual components are small. They feel kind of anemic, and the things that I don't like are pervasive in other main areas of the game. It doesn't feel ready. The pros are outweighed by the cons, and I can't help but look at this with a forlorn expression on my face because the potential to redefine the genre was there. It really was. It actually was there to totally redefine Call of Duty, but somehow all the best things seem like afterthoughts. Great afterthoughts. I'm happy that those afterthoughts exist, but none of them have taken center stage. All in all, to me, Call of Duty Cold War seems like a complete disappointment. I had strong expectations that the game would perform well, but it appears I was wrong in that category. The game has great new ideas that just weren't utilized enough. The multiplayer feels sluggish and old. The matchmaking pushes you into high-effort metagame play, and the maps are unappealing for a large number of players and reasons. And the zombies gimmick is there. It's even more gimmicky than ever, which will be a positive for some people, but I can't sit here and recommend the game right now at its current price. I just can't. I think the campaign is well worth playing, certainly, but for that 5-hour experience, 10 at the absolute most, you might want to hold off until it's like $20 or $30, but that's just my advice. Anyways, that's it. If you want to support, there are links down below, merch, locals, Odyssey, another gaming YouTuber to check out as well, but I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching, and have a nice night.